the same sun shone down on the bustling streets of Paris, Emma couldn't help but feel the light seemed different. This was the city of love and fashion. A dream she had harbored for years, now finally realized through a 6-month student exchange program. The first few months flew by in a whirlwind of beautiful sights, new friends, and unforgettable experiences. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, charming cafes on every corner, everything seemed touched by magic. Emma was a fun-loving, free-spirited student, larger than life and charismatic. Her laughter often echoed through the narrow streets of the Latin Quarter where she lived. She made fast friends with other international students and locals alike. Each day, an adventure filled with joy and discovery. One rainy night, while walking back to her dorm room, Emma found herself alone on a deserted street. The steady drizzle made the cobblestones slick and the air heavy with mist. Suddenly, 2 shadowed figures appeared from an alleyway. Their faces were masked, and one of them brandished a knife. Heart pounding, Emma turned and ran, her footsteps echoing off the wet pavement in a frantic rhythm. Her mind raced as fast as her feet, the fear clawing at her insides. She could hear the men behind her, their breathless curses cutting through the rain. Emma darted down an unfamiliar street, her eyes scanning for any place to hide. Up ahead, the warm glow of a coffee shop beckoned like a beacon. She sprinted towards it, the sound of her pursuers growing louder. Just as they were about to close in, she threw herself through the door, the bell chiming sharply. Inside, the world was suddenly warm and bright. The barista looked up in surprise, and a few patrons turned to see the soaked, terrified girl who had just burst in. Emma's legs gave out, and she collapsed into a chair, her heart racing. The men outside hesitated, then melted back into the shadows. As the adrenaline ebbed, Emma's hands shook uncontrollably. The barista approached, offering her a cup of hot chocolate, his eyes full of concern. She nodded gratefully, but her mind was still trapped in that alleyway, with the knife gleaming in the dim light. She spent the next hour in a daze, trying to calm her racing heart, replaying the events over and over. The days that followed were a blur. Emma tried to focus on her studies and the remaining weeks of her exchange, but the trauma clung to her like a shadow. She found herself constantly looking over her shoulder, jumping at every unexpected sound. The vibrant cityscape she had once adored now felt hostile and foreign. She couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability, the stark realization that danger could strike at any moment. Emma found calm in the embrace of her trusted friends, whose presence briefly illuminated her somber days. They walked her home, lingered with her under the night sky, and listened as she bared her soul. Yet, despite their support, the wounds within her remained profound. Reclaiming the joy and liberation she once knew proved to be an arduous journey. On her final night in Paris, Emma stood on a bridge overlooking the Seine, the city's lights reflecting off the water in a shimmering dance. The rain had stopped, leaving the air crisp and clean. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her experience, but also a sense of relief that it hadn't been worse. She knew that so many others were not so lucky. The trauma was still there, but so was her gratitude for having survived. As she watched the city she had come to love, Emma realized that this experience, though harrowing, had also taught her about her own resilience. She had faced fear and come out the other side, scarred but stronger. With time, she hoped to heal and find a new sense of security. But for now, she allowed herself to feel proud of her courage. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23, verse 4.